She stops being affectionate. So no more hand holding, hugging, or even casual touches. That's a big thing, right? The worst thing a woman can be is like totally indifferent. And what I mean is like she has complete apathy for the relationship and you at this point. That's the worst place a woman could be in a relationship. And that's because women are emotional beings, right? So almost any kind of emotional stimulation is good. So if they lack all emotion when it comes to you and the relationship, that's a huge sign that things are off. Things are in a really bad state. Because even if she's mad at you, that's an emotional spike that you can turn to your advantage. You know what I mean? That's where like makeup sex and hate fucking comes in. And like women like that kind of stuff. They like that emotional roller coaster, even if it's negative. It's fascinating. But if she has zero emotions for you and has complete apathy for you, it she's totally checked out. Right. And so you now trying to get her engaged again is going to be a real struggle. Uh, she rarely compliments him. When attraction is strong, admiration flows. If she never praises him, she might not feel it. You know, a lot of guys, it's funny. I was just having a conversation with one of my clients about this, right? Like the concept of the love languages is kind of bullshit. It's kind of bullshit. You can't take the love languages and fit people into nice little neat little boxes and try to fix a relationship with that. It doesn't work. In fact, there's lots of studies that show that the love languages have no bearing on a healthy relationship dynamic. In fact, I'm going to write a book about this. Probably next year or 2 years from now, I'm going to write a book about this. But the thing is that when guys go seeking out information like the love languages, right? It's usually they're in a relationship where it's eroded and it's gotten to this type of place. And so, what do 99.9% of men's top two love languages end up being? Ends up being words of affirmation and physical touch, because those are the two things that men stop getting when their relationship goes downhill, right? They stop getting the sex and they stop getting compliments and validation, and it ends up being validation seeking behavior, which ends up eroding attraction even further, right? When they go seeking that approval and attention from their wife and they're like, hey, why don't you ever compliment me anymore? Hey, why don't you ever like tell me I'm doing a good job around here? Like I need to hear that from you. Like all that kind of stuff is validation seeking behavior. You're acting like a woman. That's going to kill her attraction even further. It's a fascinating thing to realize, but it's true. And a lot of guys are really seeking that approval, and that ends up just being, classic nice guy behavior. All right, guys, get in Beer Club, beer.comeonmanpod.com. It's a good group of guys. There's about 50 guys in there. They're all in there chatting it up, swapping notes. It's a good place for men to connect with other like-minded men, especially if you're on a journey to fix your relationship. Maybe you've gone through divorce and you're back on the dating circuit and you don't know what the hell is going on. It's just a community for men to get together, swap notes, talk about guy stuff without having to worry about offending women and all that kind of stuff like that, right? And it's a very active Telegram community. And our next monthly group call is going to be this Thursday, the 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So it's the perfect time to get in to test it out. If you've been thinking about joining Beer Club, join it now. Join with the free trial. Join the call on Thursday. If you like it, stay in the group. If you don't, no harm, no foul. Just cancel before you get charged, okay? It's not for everybody. Some guys stay in the group for, a year and get what they need and they leave the group. Okay. That's up to you. Always welcome back. Some guys, they just like the camaraderie and the conversations that we have in there and some of the stuff that we share in there, and they just want to stay in there. Some guys just like supporting the show, whatever. Okay. But it's for you. It's for men. So check that out. And then, guys, if you want to work with me directly, one-on-one coaching is available if you go to call.fixeddadbedrooms.com. All right. If you guys have gotten my book, Get Her to Fuck You Again, and you're working through it and you realize, man, I just don't know how to put this in action in my relationship, booking a call with me is your next logical step there. Okay. All right. The next one up on the list here is she avoids deep conversations. Right? You know something's off in the relationship. You've heard your entire life that communication is a key to a healthy relationship, and you keep chasing her down and she will not communicate with you, right? If she does communicate with you, all the talks are surface level and she doesn't open up emotionally anymore. That's a big sign that things are going downhill. Right? She used to talk your ear off, and now you can barely get her to open up and talk about her feelings. She's become an avoidant, right? A lot of guys love that attachment theory stuff. She's become an anxious avoidant or whatever, or a dismissive avoidant, and she won't talk to you. Okay, so what do most guys do? They go chasing after her. I gotta get this out of you. I gotta, whatever. It's funny. I talk about Luca a lot on the podcast, right? Listen, understand, clarity, action. That acronym comes from Paul Benjamin, but a lot of that sort of concept is also talked about in 3% Man. And Corey talks about how something's bothering his wife, right? Or not his wife, his girlfriend, right? And so he's like, I'm going to keep bugging her until she gets it off her chest, right? I'm going to throw acorns at her, or I'm going to throw almonds at her and playfully dig and stuff until she gets it off her chest. Well, that's not going to work for someone who's sort of a dismissive avoidant. It's not. And you're trying to essentially chase that validation. You're chasing her down. And so that puts her at a one above position from you. You're basically a people pleaser at that point. You're like, you can't stand that she's upset. And so you're trying to dance around making her happy at all costs, right? Which further erodes her attraction to you. Think about that. It's validation seeking behavior, basically trying to get her to open up and talk to you when she's shutting down. And I had this epiphany the other day, because Christopher Canwell basically has a completely different response to it. And Christopher Canwell's book is way more red pill, right? Which I find red pill stuff tends to be a little more effective when applied well, right? But one of the things that he talks about, and I talk about as well too, is when a woman's pulling away from you in a relationship, that creates tension in the relationship, right? Well, all these guys are trying to squash tension at all costs, and you need that a little bit of tension in your relationship for attraction to be there. And so when you start chasing her, like, you got to think of it like a cable, you know what I mean? Like this line here. When you're in close proximity, attraction fades. That tension tends to go away. You start becoming really familiar with each other and stuff like that. So that tension or that attraction tends to go away. So when she gets mad at you and starts pulling away, it's like her attempt to introduce some kind of tension in the relationship, and she needs that. And so most guys chase her, which causes that line to go slack again, right? So what's a better way of doing it? Well, you pull back too. Okay, that instantly creates more tension in the relationship. That tension is necessary for attraction to be there. Okay, so basically you say, hey, what's eating at you or whatever. You try to get it off her chest, but she just won't. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it, whatever. Okay, so you act indifferent to it, right? You need to be indifferent to her emotions. She doesn't want you climbing on her emotional roller coaster. So just go, okay, cool. Well, when you're ready to talk, come find me. I'll be over here. And you fucking walk away, right? Let her be mad. And you'll find that when she really does want that attention and you're not chasing after her, trying to give her all this attention and validation, and she's like, oh, he's not talking to me about this. What's going on? Now she's going to get curious and she's going to come after you. She's going to come and want to talk about things. Okay. So it's better instead to, let her come to you in her own time. Right? You pull back too. When she pulls back, you pull back too. It's more effective.
New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe now.